Hi, boys and girls. This week we start learning new things in math. So I wanted to just jump on here, show you a couple little things to help you out while you do your problem sets. And this is what we would do in class. So if you want to pause this video, go grab a piece of paper, a pencil, and how about 2 different colored crayons? Okay, so go grab those things. Piece of paper, pencil, and 2 different colored crayons. And I'm going to show you something. So you're going to be talking about shapes, which we've talked about shapes in the past. You've talked about them in, kindergarten, pre-K, first grade, all the different grades, and Mr. Weatherby's class too. So when you get your paper, we're going to start off just by drawing some shapes, and we're going to talk about some things called attributes. And that seems like a really big word, but don't worry about it. It's really, really simple. An attribute is just what makes a shape a shape. So say attribute. An attribute just makes a shape a shape. And it's the parts that make it up. So now that you have your paper and your pencil, let's take our paper and our pencil, and I'm going to use my marker board, and we're just going to practice drawing some shapes. And then we're going to talk about the attributes that make that shape, that particular shape. So let's draw a rectangle. Now a rectangle will have 2 long sides and 2 short sides, which makes a total of 4 sides, right? So when you have your piece of paper, it should look a little something like this. So this is your rectangle. Now we know the shape. We know that there are 4 sides. We can count them. Well, you already know the attributes. Like, you know there's 4 sides. So I'm going to take my blue. Blue's my favorite. And I'm going to mark my sides. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to take our blue crayon. I'm going to use my blue marker. And I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. But when we mark our sides and we count them, all we do is we make a little line like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm saying that this shape has 4 sides. This shape is a rectangle, but there are other shapes that also have 4 sides. But this one we know is a rectangle because it has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. And we counted them to have up 4 sides. Now the other attribute that this shape has is it actually has 4 angles. So I'm going to put down my blue marker and I'm going to pick up my second color. And my second color today is purple. So get out your color and we're going to mark the angles. Now the angles are also known as the corners. Can you see the corners on your shape? The corners are over here. And this is how I'm going to mark my corner. I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to make just a little it's a little C, just attach them. But I'm just making that shape to show that's one corner. Then I'm going to come down here. There's another corner or angle. And then I have here's an angle or corner. And down here is an angle or corner. So how many did you count or how many did you make? 1, 2, 3, 4. So a rectangle has 4 sides, which we labeled with lines, and we have 4 angles, which we just connected the 2 corners. So that's a rectangle, and those are the attributes that the rectangle has. Let's try another shape. I'm going to erase mine, and let's draw a triangle. How many sides does a triangle have? Tri is the prefix, meaning 3. So draw a triangle on your piece of paper. I drew mine. So here's my triangle. Has 3 sides. Well, there's an attribute. It has 3 sides. So I'm going to pick up my blue again. This is going to be my marking my lines, okay, or my sides. So pick up that same color that you marked your sides with for the rectangle. So I'm going to take my blue, and do you remember what we did to mark the sides? We just made a little line. So I'm going to count my sides. 1, 2, 3. 3 sides on a triangle. So that's one of the attributes that a triangle has, 3 sides. Now I'm going to pick up my other color, which is purple, and I'm going to mark the angles. So I'll pick up my purple, and remember how we marked our angles. So I'm going to come to the corner, which is also an angle, okay? So think about it as a corner where those 2 come together and make that point, okay? That's your corner or your angle. So I'm going to come over here. I see one right here where they come together. This line and this line come together and they make that point or that angle. This piece right here where it's like mouth is open, that's your angle. Okay, then I come over here. I see one right here where his mouth is open. That's an angle. And then I come to the tippity top. Do you see where this side came together? And then I make my mark here. And that's where it looks like he's opening his mouth again, okay? So how many angles does the triangle have? It has 1, 2, 3. 3 angles. So those are attributes. And if you drew these with me, you can see with your colors the attributes of a triangle, the attributes of a rectangle with the sides and the angles. So when you go to do your problem set today, which would be lesson 1, okay? So when you look at your packet and you see lesson 1, and this is working with writing down the sides and the angles, this is what it looks like. I would use those 2 colors that you just used on your practice paper, and I would take my color for my lines, and I would go through, here's your triangle over here, okay, that's the example one, and I would mark them just like we did on our paper. And I would go like this, 1, 2, 3. There are 3 lines, and then I would write 3 sides, 3 lines, 3 sides, okay? So I would write that right here. Then I would take my other color, which for me was purple, and I would mark my angles. So I would go through, and I would just find the spot where they come together. The 2 lines come together, and I'm going to mark it. 1, 2, 3. And then I write 3 angles down here. That's the front of the page, and that's really easy. And if you use your 2 colors, remember, colors help us a lot when we're learning. It helps us to see, and it helps our brain to understand the difference between the 2. So I strongly suggest you use your 2 colors so you can really see it. Okay? So it's not so bad. That's the beginning part, and then the back is very similar. When you come to do these ones right here, it's asking you questions about the sides and the angles. And sometimes there's some of those magic math words in there, like fewer, okay? There might be the words more. Different things like that might come up in these. So I want you to pay attention to those and think back to our math poster where we'd go ding, 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 and we'd have our math words that would help us. I would start out by counting my sides and my angles for each of these shapes, and I would just go through and mark them, and that way you're all ready to go. So when you hop down here to answer the questions and look at them, then you can look up here and you already have the work done. When you get down to this bottom one, do the same thing again. Mark your sides, okay? Mark your angles. Figure that all out with these 2 shapes. There's a question right here. And remember to use your sentence starter down here when you write your answer, okay? So whatever the question says, you think about it and then you go, how would I say this to Mrs. Bale? Use part of the question in your answer right here, okay? So that way I know you're thinking. I'm not with you right now, so I don't know what you're thinking. All right, kiddos, good luck on lesson 1. I know you can do it. It's really easy.